Sam Johnson, who prepared the slideshow. And Sam got a big kick out of having John and I there telling her what we wanted done. Because we tell her, you know, pick this guy up and move him over there and then slide this one there. And I got the feeling that it sounded like we had a front end loader. Anyway, someone has said that an expert is a regular person away from home. But our experts were born and raised within a couple of miles of here. Don Strauch actually plowed in both county and state contests, and John Balliett was so involved in the fixing everything up and getting the plowing contest going that he missed a good share of it. We're going to start, some of you were there, and some of you will remember things that we don't remember. You have to remember now, this is 62 years ago. So if you feel like making a contribution, just go right ahead, because you more than likely know something interesting. We're going to start with about a 2-minute news report that WAU TV did 12 years ago on the occasion of the 50th anniversary.
We have an issue with this sound on this bite, so forgive me if it squeals.
From WEAU TV Eau Claire, this is News Center 13 at 6. Western Wisconsin's first choice for news, weather, and sports.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Buckner. Take a drive along County Road R near Augusta. You'll see a sign that marks the site of the 1953 National Farm Plowing Contest. Many who pass by don't know the lasting impact the contest had on local farming families. News Center 13's Rebecca Shapleski was at an event today that paid homage to the anniversary of the plowing contest.
50 years ago, this plot of farmland was buzzing with work, contests, and competition. Now, decades later, the land again is home not to crops, but celebration.
8 farms that was involved in it, and as a community, the whole community was involved.
Back in 1953, John Balliett was a 13-year-old living on one of the host farms. He and his sister, Mary Ann, remember preparing for the 2-day National Farm Plowing Contest, an event that would draw nearly 100,000 visitors.
It was a lot of work. It was lots of fun. I can remember my dad was so excited when our area was chosen.
What's most memorable to many were the plowing competitions. Don Strauch won the county contest 50 years ago. He says he wouldn't miss the chance to plow another row with his original international harvester.
Well, it's just a thrill to think, that you participated in something 50 years ago, which to me is a long time.
The Billerbeck family farms this area. They say honoring the history of the contest is one reason they organized the reunion.
And some of the literature we read, it was one of the biggest shows in the nation.
This is more than just a simple celebration of a plowing contest. Many things done during the event 50 years ago still benefit farmers here today. A well was drilled, trees were planted, and land was leveled as part of the contest's conservation efforts.
It was a major soil conservation thing that went on, which nobody really knows about.
It's a contest that brought national attention and better farming techniques to the area. In Augusta, Rebecca Shapleski, News Center 13.
Well, there were a lot of things going outdoors today.
What was the contest then? It wasn't a race, they were one behind the other, so just trying out different plows?
You had, everybody pulled a 2-bottom plow, and I looked in the archives of the local paper, and they had the rules, and they were in such teeny tiny print that you couldn't read them. And Don will probably remember some of them, but you had to plow a certain depth, and you had to plow straight, and you had to do this, and you had to, all complicated things that probably most farmers wouldn't know. Don, you remember any more of that?
Well, excuse me. You got to remember now there was two contests, one level land and one contour. On the contour plowing, you did not plow straight. These contours were on the side hill. And the purpose of the contours was to prevent soil erosion. On the ends where you drop the plow in, they wanted that not in a row, but also first in close and then back out, back and forth. So again, the water did not erode on the ends. You probably were given so much time, but time was not a factor. They gave you plenty of time. You could drive, you didn't have to worry about whether you'd get done or not. And then they would set stakes for each contour strip. They set some stakes on the upper side and on the lower, and then you would plow it in between. Not between the stakes, but you want to plow it. And that was how it was done.
And was it kind of a gift then to the farmer that his fields would be plowed by the time the festival was?
Excuse me, could you repeat?
Was it kind of a gift to the farmer then hosting it, that his fields would get plowed?
I don't really know how it got started. A guy by the name of Pat Kelleher was the, shall we say, the ramrod. And they did contact all these farmers. And I don't know, John, did they do anything for you in regard to you having it here?
The only thing that we got out of it was they put in a tile line and a drainage ditch that ran back across our farm and across another farm, and it ran down to the creek. And that tile line, as I understand, was good for like 25 years, and then the soil and stuff would kind of fill up the tiles and stuff. So I have no idea now if the tile lines are working at all or not, but the drainage ditch is still there. So any extra water or anything, and then he put terraces in that went back in and held the soil erosion back too. So, but as far as giving us anything for it, no, we didn't get anything. It was just what they were using it as for the contest and stuff. Where they had their wagon train going for about the next 3 to 4 years, we couldn't even keep a plow on the ground. When you hit them places, the ground was so hard that the plow would come right out of the ground. So we had things that they'd done and things that we ended up correcting afterwards so that we wasn't wrecking our machinery and stuff also. So, but it was primarily a contest, and as far as the farmers getting anything, it was just like the drainage ditch and that stuff. So.
I'm always kind of amazed when I talk to John, the number of things he remembers and the great detail in which he remembers them. And I finally figured out he probably has 2 brains in his head. I was a junior in high school over in Osseo, and the superintendent assembled us after lunch, and he said, "Now, I can't make you go over there, but you probably should, because you'll never ever have another chance in your lifetime to see anything like this." And it turned out to be absolutely right. This was both state and national plowing contest, which is really very unusual. And as far as the national goes, the first one was started by a radio guy in Iowa in 1939. And then they suspended him during the war. They came back in 1946, and as far as I know, they're still going on. Now, what's interesting to me about the state competition, I found this out accidentally. We're talking 1953. The 1950 contest was held about 3 miles south of where Weaver Store is now. And it was on the farm owned by Harvey Schiefelbein's father. So Harvey remembers a lot of that because he was a 10-year-old kid. And Harvey also told me that the next year's state contest was at Wamandee, which is in southern Buffalo County. And then the 52 contest was in Rusk. If you don't know Rusk, that's a little settlement between Elk Mountain and Menominee out on the prairie. So the thing was in this area. Now, I couldn't find out if they still held the state contest. And I called the county agent, and he didn't know either. In fact, he didn't know that the first national contest was held in his home county. He was kind of thrilled to find that out. But the next year, 1954, they held Farm Progress Days in Waupaca. And that has been going on ever since. And it's been held in our area. It was at the Triple County home. Remember when every county had a home? And one year they held it at the Triple County home. Another year they held it at the Trumbull County home. And then what year, was it 88 or 89? They held half of it on the Cleesby and Shock farms out here. And I was scheduled to go the second day. And there wasn't any second day.
Why wasn't there a second day?
Oh, the heavens opened. Remember what happened was it last week? I think it might have even been worse than that. And things were getting, tractors and other things were getting, cars were getting buried out there. And it became impossible. And finally they decided that there was just a potential of doing too much damage to their farmland. And so they just packed it up.
Well, I'm not a farmer. I just lived on a farm as a child, but there's the no-till now, is there still much plowing?
I don't think there is. Now, I don't know, do the Amish still plow?
Sure.
Okay. I went to this, I Googled 1950 plowing contest. I was hoping to find out something about Harvey's contest. Instead, what I got was something from the Buffalo County Historical Society. And so, of course, I had to look. And I think it might have been the one at Wamandee. So first they show you the banquet, and then they show you these guys were plowing with 5-horse teams of horses, and I think that's probably what the Amish do, right?
Yeah.
And then they plowed with tractors. Now, on the one at Harvey's place, they had a space set aside for horse plowing, but Harvey says he doesn't remember seeing them plow. We have put together a series of I think you did. You cut me off.
No. I barely touched the volume. I'm just trying to get rid of the squealing.
Yeah, well, okay. Anyway, we have a series of pictures here, and John is going to tell you who all these people were. There were 8 families who allowed their land to be used. So, go ahead, John.
Well, this first, is the mic on? Is it on?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, the first family is Irvin Canute. Dickinson's have it, it's just the other side of the overhead, just next door to the school here. And their land that they had in the contest was on the south side of Highway 12. This is Walter Lukey and his father and mother. They lived across from where the creamery is. And their farm was in on it. There was the next picture is Herb Zank, and Mrs. Zank was Walter Lukey was a sister or brother to Orphelia, and they farmed right together most of the time. They were farming together all the time. This is my mom and dad. We had the next place, just across the creek. This is Mrs. Langworthy, and that's Reinhard Butcher and his wife. They were farming land at the time. That's Zell, Emil Zell. He was the next, Fred Zell. He was the next farm up where Bob and Carol Poise live now. This is Melvin Johnson. They were the east. Their land joined up the back of ours. And this is Melvin Hanson. And this is where I think it's the Amish have their vegetables and garden and stuff out there on the corner on, what is that, Russell? That ain't Russell Road.
I think this is where Oscar Zeke.
Is that?
Yes,
Is that right, Dolly?
Is it what?
Where
I
Oscar
say-
Zeke lived?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a program of the contest. They've got all kinds of different things in there, all the dignitaries and all the events and stuff that were coming up. This is a lay of the land. Right here is the Melvin Johnson farm. This is the Richards farm here. They didn't participate in it at all, but their farm was right there. And then you come down here to Irby Knud's, Claire Bliss. That would be right next to where the Walters place is. They've been starting to tear that down somewhat. And right in here was where Ninus Carlson lived. There's nothing there anymore. They've taken all the buildings down there. And you've got the Lukey farm and Herb Zank and our place. And then there was Skylar Langworthy and then Fred Zell. And then in here is where the tents and all the stuff was taking place, was right in this area here.
About how many acres would that whole area be?
That whole area? Oh, you're probably talking, I don't know, 500-600?
I thought I read
800?
Yeah.
Just 100-acre farms then?
Well, they all together. They'd be all together. I mean, at one time we had 58 acres is all we had. And we ended up buying the Langworthy farm. And then there was Avery Markham. He had some land in there. The Fred Zell farm. So, but they had the plowing and stuff, terraces here. They did a plowing contour test was in here, and then they had some over right here, the level land contest. This was right out next to the highway.
Now, you can see this little trail. This is where the wagons ran that John was talking about, how they packed the earth down so much. And we parked over here, and apparently we had less trouble getting there than John's sister Rachel did getting home. The other interesting thing, you barely see it, and I had it right there. It says toilet, and over there it says toilet. And of course, when you go somewhere, that's what you're always looking for, and you're going to get a look at what it was like, and it'll make you appreciate porta potties.
Okay, this is our farm here. This was the Herb Zanks. This was Claire Bliss, Carlson, and there's Irby Knud's. Here's your overhead, and we're sitting right just the other side of that.
Now that's interesting. Is that an aerial view or a sketch or what?
Well, this is an aerial view of it. This is the Thompson Valley Creek coming down through here. And they fenced it off. They wanted to fence it off going all the way back up, but some of the farmers wouldn't participate in it. So they farmed it off, and for 25 years, the public had the right to use it from this point here down to where the creamery is. And they did all that stream bank improvement and everything in that part. But there was a lot of erosion and stuff in that area. So that was one good thing that happened. Now, if you drive by there now, you can't see anything here because it's all grown up into trees.
What was the public use then, hunting and fishing? Or?
Fishing. It's a trout stream, and years ago they made the creamery put in their own holding plant and stuff. And I used to, my sisters and I, we'd go swimming in the creek, and then we'd go home and get the fish pole and go back and fish, and we'd catch trout anywhere from 12 up to 22 inches long. And after they made the creamery and put in their holding tank, you might as well forget fishing, because it wasn't any good after that. This is the creek.
Must be the creek.
Yeah, that just it shows a number of different places where they tried to make stream improvement along Thompson Creek.
They did fix up the creek quite a bit from our area on down to the creamery. So they buried a D9 cat in the creek. They were putting in from our place to Herb Zank's, they had making a place for the cattle to water. And we told them not to go into the creek. Well, they went into the creek, and there was about 2 inches of the exhaust pipe sticking out when they got done. And they lined up, going up, I think it was on the picture before this one. This lane right here, right there is where they buried the cat. This lane right here coming up, they had county trucks, cats, they had them all hooked together, all the way from there, all the way up to the top of that hill, trying to pull him out, and they couldn't budge him. They ended up getting a crane in there, and the crane could not pick him out of there. They ended up getting another crane, and it took 2 cranes to get him out of there. They put it on a flatbed, they hauled it, and they tore it completely apart, everything. Because it was so full of sand and all the bearings and everything, they had to redo everything.